Karibu sana, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for another time to be here. Now, if we were to talk of three lessons that have been learned purely well out of what has happened, then I think these three areas can gauge where we are heading to as a country, because I keenly observed, and this is very critical, that we need to be aware of where we are as a country and as a people. But even before I go to the three areas, I think let's just connect it with how Kipchumba Murkomen, the CS for Interior, was compelled to come and apologize. In fact, he was not directly apologizing, but when you read the tone, when you listen to him, he was actually apologizing.
Tupatie haibu kama Wakenya. Vivyo hivyo siasa za upinzani izitumiwe kuendeleza siasa ya watoto wetu. I want that to be, let me just say that for avoidance of doubt, that as the security sector, we protect our children and they have a right and freedom of expression. They also have a right to have a holistic, an environment where there is a holistic teaching and they can appreciate the society and they can question the wrong things in society. They have a right to even disagree with the government of the day. But there are boundaries that have been set in the education sector. Their teachers know how they can teach. They can use euphemism. They can use, different kinds of language to pass the message on how to criticize government, criticize society, learn about society, appreciate society. But what I request is that we need a clarity of a situation in our country where our political competition is not going to be brought to education arena. I would really request that political party actors do not use our students to become the script writers. I wonder why a politician could be the script writer for students performing. Why can't we allow teachers? Because even the competition itself loses value if we don't allow the teachers themselves to be the ones who are writing the script, because part of that is part of learning so that our students can work with the teachers. The last thing I like to say is that let the school do its own job. If other political actors would like to write plays and scripts on societal issues, we have our national theatre and we have other theatres across the country for adults. Let that arena be for adults. Let the school be a place for competition. And as I assure you that as the security sector, we do not want to interfere with education. And if there was unfortunately a situation where tear gas hit a journalist, it is regrettable and we apologize. It is not our intention that we throw tear gas on our journalists. It's our intention to make sure that the journalists operate in an environment of freedom and our students operate in an environment where there is freedom.
And so there are three things that I really keenly observed, and they are now coming out as a lesson. Number one, the opposition that we have right now, however much they are not consolidated to know that this is the singular opposition that we have, that we can pinpoint, anything can be stirred up by any narrative so far. In fact, the stability that we have right now in our country can be described as very, very unstable. All right? It is very porous. It doesn't have any perfect foundation to hold the government to the extent the government can brag in the aspect of our country is politically stable. If you look at the opposition right now, everybody who is having a dissenting voice on William Ruto, if a narrative comes on that is setting a serious space for Kenyans to rise up, opposition can actually gang up together and it can cause havoc to the government that we have right now. Look at the way this issue has now been blown and it has boomeranged on government like they never thought. In fact, everybody is talking about it right now, all right? And you take the opposition is seriously unified. This is what we always say. Some of the things like this are what unite Kenyans. The other thing that I noted, and this one is very interesting. You see, right now, we will not be waiting for demos to be called. If you're waiting for a politician who is moving in a contrary trajectory to the government to call for demonstrations or strike like it used to be, it's not going to be happening like that. As we move to the new Kenya that we are seeing is in the offing. Right now, there is no politician who even will be listened to when they come and say, okay, let us make it to the street. If you are keenly following what is happening, the social media right now, the media space is going to play the biggest role in radicalizing the ground. Right now, politicians don't need to say, oh, I am the one championing for a given demo. In fact, what they need to do is just to sponsor some narrative in the social media, and then Kenyans will take it up. And especially the young people that we have right now. I like the way sometimes back Fanya Mambo Kinuthia put it. He was saying that we are moving to a Kenya where there will be no politician who will be calling demos like Raila Odinga used to do. You know, Raila Odinga used to plan and set people to be on toes. And then when you say on your mark, and then people go. Where we are heading to, it's not going to work like that. In fact, what is going to be coming out is the voice in the social media realm. You only need keyboard warriors to actually cause something to trend, and it blows up. And where we are going to, it is going to need people of skills to spice up things. It's not going to need veteranism in politics. Now that you have been in politics for so long, is when we can rely on you to do things. No, we are in a muamko, and things are going to be serious even as we move ahead. I don't know how the president is going to tackle it, because we have always been saying that William Ruto is a student of the Moi, the Nyayo politics. And he has known the aspect of some of the things you can actually dictate. If you look at William Ruto's presidents who are friends of him in Africa, you know, they are the ones who have been established in authoritarianism at all time. And so if he is being advised, all right, if he is moving with the mindset of kuna mambo ingine lazima nifanye tu kichwa ngumu, he is not going to survive it, or he is not going to find it very easy in the Kenya that we are moving to. Now, the last thing that I noted, which is the third one, very interesting, is the government right now needs a proper battalion to counter things. And this is very serious, because you look at everything from the face value, you can actually see, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to know that from the government side, we do not have a battalion that can establish things. And this one is a blame that I am putting on the president, because even during the Gen Z demonstrations of 2024, you know, the president only came out to speak later. In fact, we were just yearning, why can't the president actually speak earlier? In fact, he waited until maji yalizidi unga, okay? Mambo yakakuwa yameenda mrama. So waiting to that moment is signaling that there is no framework that the president is operating in, to an extent that if he is supposed to make a statement to rectify things, you know, some of these things actually need just a statement from the man above. Okay, he just comes and says, all right, good people, let us do this. Even make press statements. But it seems that the president is so much confined in that silent shadow, and everybody operating him have actually taken charge to an extent that he can't speak to his people. He can't actually be heard. He's like a prodigal father, you know. He is like Moses, who went to the mountain for 40 days. And then the Israelites, when he came back, he saw, okay, this is one of the very big disadvantages of a leader not being proxy to the people, and proximate to the people, and at the same time having constant communication. So right now, the government is not having that concrete plan to have a battalion that can actually speak, and a battalion that can speak in the line with, we are rectifying things. What we are seeing right now is that any battalion that comes, they are even, you know, making more harm than good. And so that is a demerit. That is something which is a causative agent for a negative detriment to the government that we have. So those three areas, I know you keenly observed everything that happened. You can align with them and see that that is where we are heading to. And the narrative that is forming right now as we move ahead, you know, things are not going to be easy. Okay? And perhaps what Mutai Nguni likes to say, that maybe things are not as good as they seem. I think we need to go the opposite way of it. Things are as bad as they seem. Or how do you say it, ladies and gentlemen? So let me catch up with you next. Have a great time.